Well, I started off as a city police officer back in late 1975, playing football at a small college out in Colorado, and some of the guys on the team were reserve police officers, and they said, "Why don't you join the reserves?" So I said, "Yeah." Stayed a police officer till 1982 with the city of Durango, Colorado, and then I moved to or took a test and luckily passed it and was accepted into the FBI in December of 1982. And had a great career. Finished my career off as the program manager of the tactical program for the FBI, commonly known as the Street Survival Program. We started a training company doing survival training, street tactics, firearms training, things like that. So we did that for a couple of years, and then I secured a contract with the FBI teaching some tradecraft with the FBI, and I did that. I'm currently doing that and working with G2. What we're going to do today is we're going to shoot our gel at a distance of about 10 feet. We're going to cover the first test with 4 layers of denim and 1 shot into it. We're going to see if we achieve maximum penetration, and just watch how the G2 performs. To make sure we're just using the G2 round, I'm going to load the G2 round 1 shot into my 9mm, and we're going to fire the 1 shot. Okay, let's take a look. We've got penetration through 4 layers of denim. All 4 layers were penetrated. We take a look at the gel. We can see that our permanent cavity starts somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 inches. The trocar's petals expand out to, if we take a look at it, to about the farthest one that I can see sitting right at 5.5 inches, whereas the core of the G2 penetrated almost to 15.5 inches. We got a 16-inch block. You can see that the core of the round came about 1/2 inch short of actually going through. So through 4 layers of denim, 15.5 inches of penetration. Our spread on the petals sits right at about, we're looking a little over 5 inches. A little over 5 inches. So does it penetrate through 4 layers of denim? I think it does a nice job. Again, at 10 feet. Well, one thing I noticed that in several of the videos was that the hollow points, and this is something that we had experienced before, you know, in the FBI. Some of the hollow points filled up with the medium that they traveled through, and that really almost turns them into a ball type ammo, and they overpenetrated. Whereas the G2, it went through the medium very well. It went through plywood, the denim, and so forth on those tests. It did not fill up with the particular medium, and it still was able to expand once it went inside the gel. This is going to be a test that we're going to explore a little bit more, run it with 4 layers of denim, and then take it up to 12 layers of denim and see how it performs. The videos that I have seen portray the fact that it does perform as advertised. Okay, for the second test, one of the concerns I had was, what about going through heavier clothing? So what we're going to do is we're going to put 12 layers of this black denim up in front of the gel. Once again, shoot it from a distance of 10 feet, and we'll see what we get. Some of the other videos that I've seen concerning other hollow points, as they go through some of this denim, they pick up the material and they'll over penetrate. Let's see what happens with the G2. I've got 1, 2, 3, got 4 up there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Let's see what happens when we got a dozen layers of denim in front of the gel. All right, once again, I'm going to load the magazine with one round of the G2 and insert it into the weapon, charge it, and we'll get ready to fire into these 12 layers of denim. Okay, let's take a look. Well, it definitely penetrated the 12 layers. We've got penetration through all 12. Wow, it looks like the core of the bullet actually came through and hit into our plywood backing up here. So it penetrated, definitely got to 16 inches. Let's take a look and see what we've got for the expansion. Again, the permanent cavity starts somewhere at about 1.5 inches after going through the 12 layers. Looks like it probably extends out in the neighborhood of about 4.25. We do have more than 16 inches of penetration. The trocar's petals expanded. We take a look at it at about in this particular time from up here at about 4.5. Let's take a look here. Again, looks like about 4.5, 4.25, right in that range. On the expansion, evenly distributed. Can it go through 12 layers of heavy clothing, denim? I think we've shown that it does have that capability. The rounds are out there on the market now. I mean, you've got a lot of different rounds out there that have you know, some damaging capabilities, you know, and police officers face that every day. I think the main thing is to educate the police officer on the types of rounds that are out there, have them be familiar with it so that they understand what its capabilities are, whether or not they're protected by wearing a vest, which of course we encourage all police officers to do, is wear a vest all the time and make sure that you know, they're well protected in that area. So I don't think there's going to be a negative effect at all. All right, for this third test, what we're going to do, one of my concerns is this bullet, if we're wearing a police officer wearing a vest, will it protect the police officer in case it's used as a weapon against him? So we're going to shoot using the 9mm G2 round into this level 3A vest plate, and we'll see what happens with that. According to the 2012 FBI statistics on officers killed or assaulted in the line of duty, officers that were hit in the vest, there were no penetrations of the vest for 2012. So we're going to check and see what the G2 does to a level 3 vest. Okay, once again, I'm going to load the magazine with one of the 9mm G2 rounds, and we're going to fire one shot into the vest. Okay, as we can see, doesn't look like the G2 penetrated. Here's our entry point. Did not penetrate the 3A vest. We don't have penetration. We do have obviously a mark where on the gel where it did hit. You're going to have some energy transfer there. But the purpose of the vest is to defeat the round from actually penetrating the body. Obviously some blunt trauma is going to occur, but that's going to happen with just about any bullet that hits you in the vest. I saw a video that the G2 produced where they were feeding the round in a fully automatic weapon, and having been on SWAT teams with the FBI and as a police officer, we had some problems with hollow points feeding into fully automatic type weapons or even in a semi-automatic mode. And I was curious about that, and so I did shoot using a 9mm handgun. I shot multiple rounds, 4 and 5 round bursts, as quickly as I could pull the trigger to see if I had any feeding problems, and I did not experience any feeding problems. For our final test, we're going to address the issue of reliability during the operating cycle. See how well the G2 feeds in rapid fire. I've got 2 magazines. I've loaded one up with 10 rounds of the G2 9mm. Load the second one here with 10 more rounds. So we're going to shoot 20 rounds at about 10 feet, staying within that in that range. And I'm going to try to shoot them as quickly as I possibly can during this this phase. I think we've already shown that the G2 will penetrate 4 layers of denim, heavy layers of denim up to 12, and yet it won't defeat the 3A ballistic vest. So now the last question that I kind of had, and I see on some of the websites and the bloggings, is the thing reliable? Are they actually using the G2 round when they're testing them in the fully automatic weapons? Not a lot of police officers carry fully automatic weapons on operations. For the most part, we're just going to be shooting quickly, and so we want the gun to function properly. So that's going to be our final test here today. Give me a second, we'll get things going. We're using a standard FBI QIT target, and I'm going to try and hold them right in the center area as best I can. All right, here we go. Okay, that's 20 rounds. Relatively quick, not fully automatic, obviously, when you're using you know, a one-to-one trigger pull. But we went through 20 rounds, no malfunctions. We'll take a look at the target, and they held in, but at 10 yards, you'd fully expect that. When you look at the ballistics of it, you know, the idea is that you incapacitate that threat. I've seen some blogs where they said, you know, this is going to be something that defense attorneys are going to get all worked up about, and, you know, say you bought this round because you had you know, bad intentions and so on and so forth. I don't think anybody buys a bullet for what we consider bad intentions. You know, they buy this bullet saying, okay, this bullet I can kill somebody with it very, very quickly. I think people buy equipment, weapons, handguns, so on and so forth. They buy ammunition that they feel confident will be able to protect them. And I think that the G2 round, if it's used in defense of your life, will stop an assailant. And that's the main goal, is to be able to stop him. Incapacitating the assailant requires several factors physiologically, and I think the G2 round will perform in that area. Yeah, well, you know, one of the things that I noticed with the 9mm is that it's a 96. The bullet itself is a 96 grain bullet. The recoil, you know, the perceived recoil, which is what everybody's kind of afraid of, is that felt recoil. When you talk to new shooters, you know, they think the gun's going to blast out of their hand and so on and so forth, is reduced. And so I think if they go out and they shoot the gun, and they realize that they can control that weapon, you know, with proper grip and so on and so forth, the recoil on that has been reduced, you know, by 20-25%, depending on what kind of rounds you were normally shooting. And so I think they'll be able to handle it better. I think there'll be a little bit more self-confidence with handling the weapon with a round that doesn't give you as much perceived recoil. Okay, we take a look at the target. Looks like I was able to hold all of them in but one. I'll just attribute a little bit of that to age. But today I hope we answered a few questions for you and ease some of the doubts that you may have about the G2 radically evasive projectile. We were able to shoot through 4 layers of denim and successfully penetrate into the gel at a minimum of 15.5 inches. The spread on the trocar pedals was somewhere in the neighborhood of 4.5 to 5 inches, stayed uniform. We then shot it with the 12 layers of denim, and we were able to achieve maximum results once again. And then to ease some of the fears that law enforcement may have, we shot it into a level 3A vest and showed that the G2 radically invasive projectile did not penetrate the vest. And finally, this last test that we hear a lot of comments, or there's a lot of comments out there about the cycling of the weapon using this round. We were able to pull off 20 rounds about as fast as I could pull the trigger, and with the magazine change, the operating cycle stayed smooth, and we were able to get off all 20 rounds without any malfunctions. You know, I want to thank you for taking some time to watch this video. Again, I hope it answered some of your questions, and if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to contact G2 Research.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a predictor of the future. I look at what works, what I believe works for me, what I think can work for the police officer, because that's where I spent most of my career, is training law enforcement officers in street survival, firearms, and defensive tactics. And I think the round will give the officer a little bit more feeling of if I have to use my weapon, it's going to be effective. I believe that the reliability of the weapon in the operating cycle is pretty good. I haven't experienced any problems at all in the rounds that I've shot. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I mean, it happens with everything that's out there. Every bullet that's out there, there's been problems in feeding and so on and so forth at certain times. Some of them are shooter problems, some of them are mechanical problems of the weapon. But this appears to have some good reliability. I believe in the accuracy of the bullet. I've tested it at 10, 15, 25 yards and shot some decent groups with it. Again, I go back to the mental preparation. We look at the three core elements of survivability: mental preparation, physical readiness, and skill enhancement. And if you have the skill set to utilize the weapon that you've been assigned, and you have the equipment that you believe and have confidence in, you'll be mentally prepared to do what has to be done in that situation. And confidence is one of the key factors to that. And if you believe that this round will enhance your ability to survive, I think you're in good shape. I personally, as I said, I carry the round in my personal weapon, and I think it gives me an edge.